Christopher Wray. She says the FBI director should be impeached. Well, here to talk about that is Angie Wong. She is the president of Legacy PAC. Angie, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Grant, for having me.
Absolutely, Angie. So, look, it certainly looks like when you look at the giant body of the FBI, I've making the argument lately that we should probably tear it down, build it back up at the very least, maybe do away with it altogether. But currently, there are problems right now inside that agency. Forget about what happened during the time they were going after President Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite honestly, if we tear it apart today and build back better, it's probably going to be way worse. I think the earliest we can actually touch the FBI, dismantle it, defang it, as Matt Gaetz says, really would be January 2025 when we have a Republican president in office to do this right. But right now, I don't want Biden touching anything. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing the right thing and barking up the right tree and trying to introduce articles of impeachment on Christopher Wray and others. But the reality is we don't want Joe Biden bringing in another gangster to help him basically police the Democratic Party using the FBI.
You know, Angie, it's funny because I'm torn often about these articles of impeachment. I think Secretary Mayorkas of Homeland Security could certainly be impeached. Heck, I think the President of the United States, you could make an argument for him to be impeached. But when you don't have the votes, I understand it raises certain awareness to the problems and situations surrounding them, but it also then ends up being somewhat of a waste of time. Where do you fall on that spectrum?
Yeah, I mean, so far the GOP has not offered articles of impeachment on Biden, on Mayorkas, on anybody, really. So this is the first time we're actually seeing it come to light. I hope that the sophomore congressional member, Marjorie Taylor Greene, will have some congressional support. I mean, she really is. This is her second term. This is something that the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, should be bringing down the pipeline. Although it took Marjorie basically to bring this to light. And I do hope that there's going to be a vote on the congressional floor to remove the FBI. If not, just even as a warning to the FBI to not do this ever again. We have the 2024 presidential elections coming. I don't want to see any more of this unfair election interference. I think we can call it that at this point. And I think that this is a great way of basically putting the FBI and other agencies on notice.
You know, I was talking to Mike Rogers, the former congressman, on my radio program this morning. He was inside the FBI for a long time. He was a bigwig in the intelligence community for a long time, on the intel community. And he was talking about how 98% of the FBI agents are good FBI agents. They're great law enforcement people. And I said, are you sure about that? And I'm a big proponent of good law enforcement officers, right? I support the rule of law. Notice I don't say I just blindly support cops. I support the rule of law. If there's a bad cop, then I want them out. Good cops, I want them celebrated. But the rule of law is what I really end up celebrating, right? I'm not convinced that the number is 98% inside the FBI. It's easy for conservatives to just say that. But when I look at what some of these boots on the ground FBI agents have done to conservatives, have done to President Trump, have done to people around President Trump, all in the name of their so-called justice, which is really just more political persecution, I've been told that the leaders inside the FBI have been doing a great job going to many colleges and universities and hiring like-minded people that fall on the left side of the aisle when it comes to hiring these agents. I don't even know anymore if the number falls at 98% or great.
Yeah, so I think it was Bernie Kerik, the former police commissioner of the NYPD, who said yesterday, if this were a state trooper or if this was a local cop who fabricated evidence to prosecute others, they would be in a federal prison right now. Unfortunately, we don't have the same laws for, let's say, a federal officer or anyone in the FBI. The Supreme Court has never passed that. And I was talking just recently this morning with Jeffrey Clark, the former assistant AG, and he said, no, we don't have that same law. So state cops can't do this without being in trouble. But meanwhile, the FBI they can fabricate because there's really no consequences. And I think that's where we are right now. The American public is so sick of all the gaslighting and so sick of not seeing any consequences for people who are trying to interfere with our elections that I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is tapping into that frustration. And that's why I would love to see these articles of impeachment actually go through. And I would love to see congressional support in her efforts.
Yeah. Besides Kathy Hochul, who was on the screen next to you, we were scrolling through pictures of John Brennan, former CIA director, Andrew McCabe, deputy director of the FBI. You had Peter Strzok there. All of the players. James Comey was a picture that was running as you were talking, and I couldn't help but think, these are all pictures that at the very least, these are all the people I want hauled in before Congress. That this Republican-controlled Congress better start doing something more than I'm seeing them now. I know we're really hailing Comer as a great hero, releasing much of the things that he has, but the way they are releasing this has just been a debacle. For whatever reason, I don't think that Republicans understand how to communicate or even how to present the facts. Like, you have to put on a show, and they're not doing this in a manner that should be. And the first show that I want to see is all those people I just mentioned hauled into Congress, and let's get them testifying about this stuff.
Yeah, I think Grant Stinchfield should be their crisis consultant, because you're absolutely right. When Comer released his report, what happened that night, right? You had Donald Trump going on CNN doing his town hall. Every time that we have some big breaking news, you have a Chinese spy balloon floating around the sky to distract everyone. Everyone look up instead of looking up, looking at where we should be looking, which is all these reports coming out. We have the Durham report, we have the Comer investigations, we have so much piling on, but we can't break through the messaging. And you're absolutely right. When you have the mainstream media basically ignoring all this breaking news that should be relevant to all Americans, not just Republicans, but they're suppressing the news, we have a real problem here. And I'm very nervous that this is going to happen again when it comes time to, vote in our president next year.
Look, the Republicans have always had a hard time messaging, but Comer literally had like all kinds of stuff. Like this idea of the $24 million worth of diamonds, that was buried in the report. That should have been in the first paragraph. What happened to the diamonds? I would have walked in with a bag full of fake diamonds and I would have poured them right out in front of the media. $24 million worth of diamonds. What happened to them? That would get attention. I promise you, even if they were making fun of it, you'd have Morning Joe playing that clip of him pouring diamonds out on a table. Even if they're making fun of him, the left would be seeing it and asking themselves what happened. They don't know how to do any of this stuff. But I appreciate you coming on, and we're getting the message across together. I can't wait to have you on again, Angie. You're great, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again and again. Thank you again for having me on.
And I urge everyone, Legacy PAC is who you're with. Keep up the great work there. I appreciate you, Angie. All right, folks, as we move on, chaos. All we talk about here is chaos. So are you prepared if all hell breaks loose, things go south? I know they already are, but are you prepared if they really go south? Our friends at Heaven's Harvest can help you. Food shortages are coming, folks. Trust me. It is time you stock up and get prepared. You will never regret being prepared for the worst. HeavensHarvest.com has high-quality prepper food, heirloom seeds, and so much more. Heaven's Harvest food is freeze-dried, not dehydrated, so it keeps a much longer shelf life than dehydrated foods, 25 years in fact. Not only that, freeze-drying also retains its original shape, its flavor, color, and texture. And unlike canning, freeze-dried foods retain nearly 97% of their vitamins and minerals. Prepper food that you can feel good about feeding your family. Go to HeavensHarvest.com and use promo code AmericaFirst for discounts and to let them know that we sent you. That's HeavensHarvest.com, promo code AmericaFirst. Well, folks, the Democrats may have control of the United States Senate, but they got a couple of real problems there. And honestly, For as much as I despise their politics, my prayers are with people like Dianne Feinstein